All right, let's talk a little bit about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. This was, I think it is season 13 and it is episode 10. And the episode is entitled Relentless Erica. You know, Erica was supposed to be not talking bad about people and being negative for Lent. And I guess Lent's over because she had to really get Denise together. So they're still over at Crystal's house, and Denise and Erica are going back and forth about this conversation about Erica. Again, Denise is saying that Erica is claiming or made the claim that her children participate in threesomes, and Erica's like, girl, are you dense? Maybe you are. She said, and she went on it. Erica went on to explain yet again. She said, look, with children having access to the internet, access to these cell phones, it isn't surprising that they would have a lot of knowledge regarding various sexual acts. So I didn't say your kids did, but we're talking about mine. So well, I'm explaining to you, I never said that. Now, she also explained, Erica said that, look, I even met up with you later on at lunch, and I went ahead and I apologized since we were all having a conversation about sex at the table, which was adjacent to where the teens were sitting. And Denise was going, oh, no. We were not having conversations about sex. She said, oh, yeah, we were. In particular, you were sitting here talking about the size of your husband's appendage. And Denise again denies that. Oh, no, I would never say that. Oh, no, I didn't say that. And then, of course, good old Bravo runs their footage of literally her saying that. And then we see Sutton in her confessional saying, yeah, I was there, I was at the table, and she did say that. So I don't know what's going on with Denise and her selective memory. I just don't think that Denise likes Erica. I think that's more of an issue because Denise is making claims that are not justified. Like, she's making these claims against Erica. Erica is letting her know what was actually said, the context of what was being stated, and Denise is refusing to listen. So Erica's like, girl, I don't have anything else to give you. Then Denise going to throw in there, oh, well, you know, and then you're going to talk about my daughter and OnlyFans. I think that's low blow. And Eric's like, girl, you are coming at me with a bunch of lies. Like, what did you expect me to do? I'm going to defend myself. Then Denise goes on with this whole, and you sit up here and you act like you didn't know that $20 million was deposited into your business account and all of that. And Eric was like, well, first of all, none of what you're saying did not happen. She said, you know what? You're mentioning stuff that's 4 and 5 years late, and it's not even about what's going on today. It's not, you don't even have your facts together. I've been trying to give you opportunities to get it together, but it's useless. We're done with this conversation. I'm done with it. I'm ending it. You had your chance. You failed multiple times. We're done. And Erica got up and walked away. I think she went to go call her Uber or something because she was over with that conversation. She ended it. I was like, girl, Denise, I don't even know why Denise is there. If it's to antagonize Erica, she's looking foolish. She's looking foolish. I don't know if Denise is drinking excessively, taking pills, smoking something, but she's not delivering on all cylinders. And it's just, she's losing miserably. It's a bad look. So then Kyle jumps in and says, well, I don't think it's right for us to bring up and talk about kids or talk about family members. And Garcelle's like, well, I think Garceille and Denise both was like, well, why didn't you say something to your friend Erica when she was talking about, you know, Denise's children? And here go Kyle getting on the defense. Well, nobody came to my defense at my Taco Tuesday when I was being questioned about my ring and, you know, me wearing a ring that I purchased for myself, and no one came to my defense. I had to defend myself. And it was, again, false equivalency here. False equivalency. Your ring discussion had nothing to do with talking about children. No one coming to your defense also was a situation of people want to get an understanding as to what's going on. You have changed your entire lifestyle. You're working out excessively. You don't drink. At least at this point in time, you're not drinking, and you're no longer wearing your wedding ring. So of course it's a curiosity factor. It's not about, well, let me defend you. Defend you against what? We're just asking. So Kyle was yelling and screaming, acting a fool. No one cared. So anyway, that ended the party. The people started leaving. It was a wrap. And then Kyle will come outside and tell Sutton, "Hey, now don't make out with your driver." I thought that was real catty and unnecessary. And Sutton really should have said something about, "Well, hey, now don't forget to go home to your husband instead of your girlfriend." Something along that. She should have said something along that line. I would have just went real catty and low as well. But that was that. That was just that was the gist of the party. And I really feel like the other lady that was there that was talking to, I don't know her name, Ashley or Ashland. She was there. She was the one that was asking the questions about what happened at Magic Mike, and because Dorit had told her that Sutton had a breakdown or meltdown about Magic Mike and the whole situation. So I don't know if she's going to be coming back. I don't know her name. I don't know, but I just found it odd that this person who was not a cast member, I don't know if she's a friend of the show, just jumps into a conversation, gets mic'd up, jumps in the conversation about what's going on. So that was kind of weird to me. I forgot to mention that in the last review. So as we move forward, we get a conversation with Crystal and her husband. He's Jewish and she's Chinese. And she's talking again about the two cultures, how they recognize both cultures. There's similarities between the two. They're having lunch or dinner, I guess, with their children. And the husband is, questioning them, quizzing them about the meal that they were having, the reason behind it, the historical context, and all of that good stuff. And then, then he talks to his wife later on, and she's saying that the girls are questioning me about why I don't say a lot, that I'm too quiet, and I just don't feel the need to be yelling and screaming, and I think that's what they want me to do. I don't think they want Crystal to yell and scream. I think that they want Crystal to be more vocal. I think they want Crystal to have a say, have an opinion, and her husband told her, he said, "Look, you are a very opinionated woman." She's like, "I know." I said, but they're not getting that side of Crystal, apparently, that the husband gets in terms of voicing her opinion and speaking her mind. They don't really get a whole lot from. It's like Crystal could be in the scene and you forget that she was in the scene. Like she's there and not there. And I think they just want to see more of Crystal. You don't have to yell and scream to get your point across. So yeah, so I don't, I'm at this point with Crystal, she could be a friend of the show. I'm more interested in Crystal's brother. He's the pop star in China. I'm more interested in what he got going on in his life than I am with Crystal at this point. I really thought that Crystal was going to give, but she's really not giving much of anything. So that's that. I don't even know why they didn't demote her. I am curious to know why she wasn't demoted, because I know her name was on the list of people that they were thinking about demoting, her and Dorit. So, but it is what it is. So then we get Kyle and Kim. Her sister Kim comes by the house. And Kim's daughter is getting married. I think her name is Whitney. And she is, wondering if Kyle's going to be there. And Kyle's not really giving a direct answer to that question. I think Kyle is still concerned about being around her sister for a long length of time. Kathy, they're not in a good place. And we know what happened at the reunion. Kathy feels as though Kyle never defended her, never came to her rescue, never sided with her. And she expected Kyle to do more as far as promote the tequila. I think Kathy had. Kyle wasn't promoting tequila. Kyle was not defending Kathy enough in front of Lisa Rinna and Erica. And at the reunion, it just came to just like a big explosion. So Kyle said, "Look, I don't want that negativity in my life. I did see her last month at the whatever award show, whatever she went to, and they took a picture together." She said, "But as far as us hanging out, as far as us talking, it's not going to happen." So I guess, hey, I think Kyle just doesn't know how to navigate a relationship with her sister. And we're talking about a woman who's used to getting her way a lot, and she's not used to conflict as far as people going against her. And with Kyle, I think Kyle has some very strong opinions about her sister and the way her sister has, I guess, behaved in various situations, like back in Aspen and all of that. And it's not going to be in favor of her sister. So, because Kyle was trying to stay neutral, because Kyle knew that Kathy was acting a fool, and Kyle didn't want to come out and say that. So that's really what the issue is. Kyle is was trying to keep the peace, and Kathy was looking at it as if, girl, you're not even defending me. Are you on my side? And no, Kyle was not on her side. That's just what it was. So then we get this conversation, very brief. We don't get a lot of detail. And I wanted this scene to be a little bit longer. And it was the scene between Erica and Dorit. Erica comes over to Dorit's house. And Erica asked, she said, look, I came into the conversation you and Sutton were having towards the end of it. So I didn't hear everything that was being stated. So I need for you to explain to me what exactly happened, why they get to the place they got to. And we never heard Dorit's explanation or her version of what happened. We never got that explanation. And then, Eric was like, well, you also got into it with Garceille. And I guess you need to just be more aware of certain things you say and how you say it and things like that. And, she said, you're just going to have a conversation with Garceille. And again, I wanted to hear what Dorit was thinking, her perception of how things went. I wanted to hear her explain that conversation, really the conversation between Garceille and herself. I wanted to hear how she thought that came about, what her perception of it was, her version of what actually happened. They did not play that. I wish they did, because it really would have lent itself to the audience to understand and to see how there is an unconscious bias. And we're going to get into that in a few minutes. I think I've talked about everybody. Oh, Sutton and her date. Sutton went on a date. And this guy seemed to be someone that she was interested in. I think even the way that she dressed for the date said a lot, because her previous date that she had, she wasn't even dressed like she was ready to go on a date. It looked like she was dressed to go and hang out in the park somewhere. Like, she really put some effort into what she had on this time. So I think it said a lot in terms of what she was attracted to. She wasn't attracted to the first guy, clearly. And then this time she meets this guy. He's a VP of sales. And it was a vague situation. Like, the matchmaker was like, well, he's VP of sales and all of that. And she's like, well, what does that mean? And it is vague. Like, VP of sales of what? Are you VP of sales at Google? Are you like, where? Like, what do you do exactly? That doesn't, that's not saying a lot. So the dinner went well. This guy had a good sense of humor. They were able to really have a conversation and seem to be enjoying themselves. And I can see Sutton was smiling more. He was smiling. And he finally was like, look, I would love to, meet up with you again. Can I have your phone number? It went well. So I think this is somebody that Sutton would be interested in and like. I think she does want companionship. I really believe that Sutton would like to have a guy there with her and be supportive and a companion. And I think that when they brought up, between the matchmaker and Sutton, they brought up this whole thing about billionaires. And Sutton was like, I would love to meet a billionaire. I would love to, meet up with a billionaire. That would be more my speed. And I think, I don't know. I think the matchmaker is trying to be really, really, really professional and trying to say, look, some of the guys that I think that you are expressing that you would be most interested in would not be interested in you. Okay. Because they're looking for something real young, like 20s and 30s, not a 50-plus-year-old woman. I don't think the matchmaker wanted to say that to Sutton, but I think that's what she was thinking. And Sutton hasn't picked up on those social cues as of yet. So now we get to the dinner or the lunch. It was with, between Garceille and Dorit. You can see the tension already. When Garceille walks in, Dorit's already there, and the waiter comes over and asks if they want anything. She said, Garcelle's like, I'll just have water. Do you need, want to order anything? No, she just Garceille was already on 10 when she walked in. And Dorit could see that there's going to be a problem. And so Dorit was like, look, I'm going to let you start. I'm going to let you explain your feelings to me so that I can get an understanding as to what's going on between us. And this is where I feel as though Garcelle's explanation wasn't as, the detail wasn't detailed enough. I think that Garceille was pointing out about the microaggressions. I think she should have said the word microaggression when, Garceille was like, you used the word attack. And I was not attacking you, and that is a bad thing to say to a Black woman. It's like using the word angry. Like, only emotion that we can have is angry. What I wish Garceille would have explained further was saying, look, she did mention, Sutton was yelling at you and you never said that you felt that Sutton was attacking you until I got into the conversation and questioned your motives about bringing up the whole making out with the driver. Now it's all of a sudden I'm the one that's attacking you. And that's where I feel you have an unconscious bias. That's what I consider to be a microaggression. That's what she should have said to Dorit to start. Because I don't think that Dorit is I don't think that Dorit is intentionally trying to be less than sensitive intentionally. But because she's not a woman, she's not a Black woman, she's not picking up on the social cues, she's not getting where Garceille is coming from. Garceille even brought up instances from the past, like 3 or 4 years ago, about, Dorit saying all these different people that work for her, they're Black and brown people. And Garceille was like, oh, so your whole staff is just Black and brown people, right? You don't have any white people on your staff? And Dorit's like, oh, well, that's not what I mean. She said, my mother's best friend is Black. Girl, that's one of the worst things you can say. It's like, oh, I'm not racist, but because one of my friends is Black. Girl, don't do that. I felt like that was just a weak comeback. And again, I wanted Garceille to explain how sometimes Dorit downplays her feelings, such as when I don't know where they were, and Garceille was explaining how she doesn't feel safe in this circle, talking about her children. Given what happened with Erica and all of that, and then how the response to that, finding out that Kyle and Dorit and their husbands were laughing about the situation. So it made her feel unsafe, like there's a psychological safety that's not there. And I wanted Garceille to bring that up again to reiterate a point, because Dorit told Garceille, like, oh, girl, you need to get over it. It's not that serious. She was very dismissive of Garcelle's feelings. So again, points to like Black women can only have one emotion, that's anger, and that's it. We can't be vulnerable. We can't want sympathy or empathy for our situations. So, but yet Dorit can talk about PTSD selectively, like in certain situations, her PTSD is in full effect. But when she comes to, like, she go to Kyle's house and not mention PTSD. She goes to Garcelle's, the documentary premiere, and, oh, I can't believe this is PTSD. So girl, don't, And I feel like Garceille was trying to give her, some explanation. The way that Dorit received it sound as though Dorit took it as, you're sorry, you calling me racist? And Garceille said, no, that's not. But I can see how Dorit would go and take these critiques and think that it's pointing to someone who has who's racist, and that's not what Garcelle's saying. But that because she's not explaining it and really getting into the microaggressions aspect of it, that's the way it's coming across. Now, Dorit jumps in there and says, well, I'm Jewish. Now, I don't know what that was supposed to, the relevance of that to the conversation, um, because it really didn't align with what Garcelle was talking about and their relationship. Um, I didn't quite get it. I don't know that. I mean, yes, we understand that, Jews have been persecuted in history. We know about that. We know that even Jewish people today, some of them, they do get, there are people who discriminate against them and all of that. We know that does happen, but that's not the situation that we're discussing. It was almost apples to oranges because it was not germane completely to what Garcelle was trying to get her to understand. Because if we're talking about that group of women and how people are expressing themselves to each other, I don't think that if Dorit ever felt like there was a microaggression against her because she's Jewish, I think that would be something that she could have used. But because that has not happened, at least Dorit hasn't mentioned it, that's why I didn't think it was like a good comeback for Dorit. I'm like, girl, you're not making much sense right now. And I feel like Dorit is trying to defend herself versus listening and trying to get understanding. This isn't a situation of you're being accused of something that requires a defense. This is where, Garcelle's like, look, I'm not, I'm trying to get you to understand something, and you have to be willing to listen and comprehend it and not have to come back and defend everything that I'm saying. So, Garcelle's like, look, we'll work through it, we'll move forward, we'll push forward. But it was a very tense conversation. I wanted Garcelle to add more to it that solidified her position, because I don't think that it was clear enough for Dorit to quite understand it. Now, I think Dorit has a lot of passive aggressive behavior. I think that there is an unconscious bias there. I think that she does demonstrate and utilizes microaggressions frequently. I think that she does live in a bubble. When she's on social media and says, look, I live in a bubble. Yes, I agree. And because you are in a world that is void of the things that Garcelle is talking about, I think you're unwilling. It's coming across as she's unwilling to understand, even though she's saying that she wants to understand. So that's where that conversation leaves off. I thought it was a decent conversation. I think it could have been articulated a lot better from Garcelle's perspective. And I wanted to hear more on how Dorit perceived the conversation when she was speaking to Erica. That's it. That's all I got. Talk to you guys later. Peace.